her this morning, and yesterday I took my oldest granddaughter to the zoo. It was kind of impromptu. We were out doing estate sales, and she asked about going to the zoo, and I was like, you know what, estate sales, we'll do that some other time. How often do I get to go, do something special with my oldest granddaughter? So we went to the zoo, which we have been to many times. We have a membership, so it's nothing new. But let me share a story with you that I think will be a part of this whole service here this morning. There is a thing that Skyfari. How many's ever ridden on it? A few of you. Okay, so the Skyfari, it's the chairlift that you can get on, and it takes you to the other side of the zoo, and then you can get off there, or you can do the round trip and come back where you started, and so on. So we're up pretty high. Usually, if I'm that high, I'm in an airplane. But I was so brave, wasn't I? All right. I was like, don't move, don't shake, don't. So we're kind of getting comfortable with being in that position and that high up. And she made a comment to me. She goes, Grandpa, I've never seen that part before. We were going over a part that she had been before. And I would say, no, honey, that right there is where the big elephant is, and with the big long tusk and all that. She goes, I didn't, she didn't quite understand that we had already been there and seen that quite a few times. But our perspective was different. Mm-hmm. Our point of viewing as something that we were familiar with was different. And so I got to, here's my message, here's a little nugget for you this morning, is that as grandparents and parents, we are very influential of helping our children and our grandchildren see things in a different perspective. They see it from their world, I see it from my world. But when we get up a little bit higher and remove ourselves from the familiarity, the Lord sometimes shows us things in a different light, a different angle, a different perspective. He sees everything from heaven, doesn't he? He sees things from the parapets of heaven, and he sees all things before they're going to happen. You and I cannot, because we are limited to this plane that we call the human life. But every once in a while, the Lord will, in prayer, the Lord's going to anoint Kimmy, and the Lord's going to anoint Jocelyn, sometimes in prayer, to show Aaron someday what God's doing from a different perspective, a different way. How many know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So just you get familiar with things, and maybe things become old hat, or I've already seen that, and I've already been there, and I've already done that, and the Lord goes, well, watch this. Let me help you see it from a different. Let me help you see it the way I'm seeing it. So it's so important this morning that we see things as God sees them, and not necessarily always the way that we see them. He won't bother me. Well, are we on a time element here? Right? Okay. All right.